Let's discuss another important subtopic within the main topic, how to assess reading skill. So there can be several issues in terms of making and using comprehension tests. So as language teachers, as language teachers in the Pakistani context, we need to be aware of such issues, because the awareness about such issues will help us bring about transparency and help us address the issues of validity, reliability, and practicality of reading proficiency tests. Right. Well, the question is, and it's a very important question, should a test, whether it's a comprehension test, should consist of one text or several texts, shorter texts? Well, the answer is, if we, for example, include several texts, that will affect the background knowledge. Okay, we need to make our tests more representative of the topic which we have given to our learners to be assessed. So it's better to include one text instead of bringing in several shorter texts. So we can plan our questions, and we can pose several questions on the same information. Let's say, for example, if the question is on comprehension, if we give comprehension passage to our learners, so we can set a range of questions over that passage to assess their comprehension skills. So the second important issue is the time issue. So should time to sit be limited? I mean, should learners be allowed to sit in the reading proficiency for a limited time? Time tests can have their own implications, and time tests can have their own implications. So I think such reading tests need to be time bound, time constrained, because it will better help understand whether the learners can read a text fast, or they can employ some strategies. So we need to set such questions in such a manner that the learners may be allowed to look back at the text when they are answering questions. So time constraint is important. If we want to measure memory skill, then we need to carefully think about the time for assessing memory skill. If we want to evaluate learners' knowledge skill, then we need to be mindful about the time constraint. If we want to understand their comprehension, so it's better to have some limitations of time when we are formally assessing our learners in terms of their understanding of the text. Right. There are certain common concerns, issues which we need to be aware of as second language teachers. So what about the use of first language? Whether the learners should be allowed to use first language while answering questions on comprehension passages. They can use first language, for example, in our context, Urdu language, to discuss. But when they answer, the answer needs to be written in the target language. Right. While marking questions, we need to require certain written answers So should learners be penalized for poor spelling, poor punctuation, and poor grammar? As regards the spelling issue, we can have some leniency room for spelling, because we need to see reading as a process, not as a product. So poor punctuation, we can give feedback to them, and poor grammar. So we need to see our learners and their contextual backgrounds while assessing such skills of spelling, punctuation, and poor grammar.